Chase Elliott has won 25% of all stages on road courses. Green and white checkers in the air.
Oh boy, that's a lot of stage points for stage one. You know, gotta say, I really outdid myself with this lineup. Look at them all. They're in the top 6. Might have a little bit of trouble picking my garage between Larson or Byron. I'll take Byron. He's not too far off from Larson. Might have had a big time miss with Kurt Busch and Christopher Bell not being in most of my lineups, but that's alright. Elliott might have had a slow pit stop, but he'll be back in front. No need to worry. Alright, got my garage picks in. It's a good time to go for some groceries. I think I've seen everything I need to see for this race. Oh yeah, getting all the endpoints, babe.
De Benedetto spun the tires.
Real easy to do on those old tires.
Oh no! Slid the front tire down. Bell winning win. The tire wall.
Christopher Bell to get his first cup win.
Alright, y'all, I'm back. Kind of rude of me to leave in the middle of a race. What we got here? Alright, so let's assess the damage here. So Jackuwarz 1 seems to have dealt with the common issues with Elliott and Truex. Both of those guys spinning out, being outside the top 10, that sabotaged the 40 points, potentially more. Plus all day long I was very coin flippy on between either Byron or Larson, well before they had their issues. I chose Byron over Larson simply because of Larson falling back to 16th at the end of stage 2. But I think at the end of it, I think it's best if I burned up that Byron use instead. Very similar story with Waste Elliott, although it still managed to get some decent points, being a lineup without Denny Hamlin. William Byron is also in this lineup, which tells you all you need to know for this lineup as well. And fortunately, Kyle Busch, he has his issues before the end of stage 2, so made for an easy garage pick. Here's the lineup with the best results. Didn't really come from the starters, more so the bonus picks. I got Logano as a top Ford, and then Toyota and Joe Gibbs winning, which elevates it above 200 points. As for no Chevy, didn't have to deal with Chase Elliott or Larson or Byron's issues as well. Instead, I get much more consistent points here, even from McDowell. I actually made a last minute change here. I swapped out Chris Buescher for Ryan Blaney. Blaney turned out to be a bit of a disappointment, but with one bonus pick right, it sets us at 195 here. Last but not least, Jackuwarz World Network. Pretty much just take what I said about Pick Stenhouse, but take away the manufacturer and winning team picks being right. As for the big winners this week, definitely Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano, both getting 52 points apiece. Despite some early final stage issues by mowing the grass in the infield, Kurt Busch was able to recover for a 4th place finish and bringing home 48 points. Of course, you got the race winner in Christopher Bell getting 47 points. And then like Kurt Busch, out of nowhere, you got Brad Keselowski coming home, rounding out the top 5 with the most points at 39. So needless to say, things got pretty crazy in the last 10 laps of the race. Went from potentially a 270 point day to a 180. And some things we learned about this race, we know now that Christopher Bell is the real deal. I feel I'm finally at the area where I can play him a lot more regularly, especially this upcoming Sunday at Homestead. And speaking of Homestead, let's go over some driver info before we make our picks. Now keep in mind a few things. The ownership percentages is changing much more than I thought it would. Starting this week onward, I'll just have on screen the percentage. Before I got moved to the regular season race in 2020, some of these drivers didn't earn the stage points that they got when they were in the championship 4. So the way I'm displaying my points is as if Homestead was always a regular season race. But yeah, at the same time, these numbers are kind of inflated because of these drivers being in the championship 4. So I'm recording this right before NASCAR officially has the starting grid. I'm just going off of Bob Pockrass's lineup card that he tweeted. So according to Bob, Denny Hamlin should be on the pole position for Homestead. Just like Chase Elliott with the Daytona Road Course, I see Hamlin being a must-play for Homestead. In the race in June, he dominated, earning the win and maximum stage points from sweeping both stages. The year before in the championship 4 that he was a part of, he did finish 10th. He has started first in all of the stage racing era races in Homestead. Hamlin does a very good job at taking advantage of that, with some very solid finishes. Sharing the front row with Hamlin is Joey Logano, definitely a top play if you take away his results last year. He also started second in that race, and in the 3 races right before that, he was projected to score at least 30 points in all 3 of those races. There's also the 2018 race, which he won, along with that year's championship. Depending on how much play Christopher Bell sees starting 3rd, he could be a must-play, but if the ownership is low enough, he's easily a blind spot play. He only has 1 start at Homestead. Last year, in his rookie year, he finished 8th in Homestead, no stage points, but he did start 36th that race, which would explain that. And with the much better starting position here, I expect he'll get the same performance he got with the win last week, but much better. Maybe double-digit stage points, I'm thinking. Kevin Harvick, he's starting 4th, another top play. Just like Logano, he didn't fare well in last year's race. No stage points, even after starting 7th. But 3 years right before that, he's been very stellar at Homestead, getting at least 40 points in each race. Starting 5th, Kurt Busch. So in 2020, started 10th that race, but finished 17th, not a single stage point. Very similar story with the race right before it, but instead he finished 21st, with a 13th starting position in the 2019 race. I wouldn't make Kurt Busch a crutch play. Definitely a driver you have to make room to garage if you do consider playing him this week, and likely you should pair him with this next driver, Martin Truex, starting at 9th. Just like Harvick and Logano had quite the lackluster points day in last June's race, but was a bit better than the both of them. 12th with 4 stage points, but in his races where he was a part of the championship 4, he's been very incredible. Top 2s, winning the race and the championship in 2017. And if you think you can spare a use or 2 with Truex, other than a road course, or you somehow left him out of your lineup last week, then at Homestead this is a very opportunistic time to play Truex. Another potential top play this week, Chase Elliott starting 11th. I never saw Homestead being a top track on Elliott's calendar until he got 50 points in last year's race, finishing 2nd with 15 of those being stage points. One of 4 drivers to get 50 points in last year's Homestead race, one of them being Denny Hamlin with the race sweeping 60, and this next driver, Ryan Blaney, who is starting 14th and lining up all 4 of his outings. He's been getting more and more points with every start. The 14th starting position may set him back on big stage points in stage 1, but I surmise at the very end of it, Blaney will be right in the thick of it just like last year, and may easily be a top play for this week. So here's a potential sleeper pick in Aric Almirola starting 16th. In last year's race, he earned the 5th most points with a 5th place showing, tagged along with 7 stage points for a total of 39. This race was also a part of Aric Almirola's long top 10 streak during the summer, and whether or not he rekindles some of that this week, we have yet to know. So at most, give yourself some room to garage Almirola, because after these first 2 races in the 2021 season, Almirola hasn't quite taken off yet. Starting right behind the 10 is Kyle Larson at 17th. He wasn't a part of 2020's race, but going back to 2019, he did get a whopping 17 stage points, but would ultimately finish dead last after engine issues. The year before that, he finished 13th with a whopping 19 stage points. So as much as I would say must play for Larson, along with Almirola and the rest of the drivers I'm going to mention here, give them good room for the garage and start no more than one of these drivers. Starting 24th is Kyle Busch, and depending on what the ownership percentage is like, he could be a must play, or he could be a very good blindside pick. If you look at Busch's numbers, he's never finished outside the top 7 in the stage racing era at Homestead. Last June, he finished 6th with 2 stage points for a respectable total of 33 points. He won the championship in 2019 with that win, and what would have been 18 stage points. And similar story with 2017 and 18. Now starting deep in the field from 24th, that may or may not set back Kyle Busch, but out of all the drivers starting back here, I think I like his chances the most. We're just now getting into my one big avoid for this week, and that's William Byron starting 31st. Now it's not that his numbers are bad at Homestead. In last year's race he finished 9th with 9 stage points for a total of 37 points. It's more of simply the starting position and where the team's at right now. I don't think Byron is ripe for the picking at this point in the season. With the 2 results we've seen from him this year, learned that one the hard way, and I'm at a point now where I'm going to wait until Byron gets a good finish before I deploy more uses with him. Final driver worth mentioning mentioning is Tyler Reddick. He's starting way back in 35th, and if he can pay off, then I think he can be a very good sleeper pick. He's the 4th driver to earn more than 50 points last year, with 17 stage points and a 4th place finish. Now that was a lot of drivers I covered over. If you guys think that my driver insight got really long there, just let me know in the comments. I'll trim it down for next week. But I felt like there was a lot of options you can go with your lineup this week. And now, for what you all have been waiting around this video to see, it's my lineups for Homestead. For Jackuwarz 1, I'm going with all the hot drivers. I'll give Larson one last chance at his best racetrack. Same kinda goes for Blaney. I'm just hoping he goes for a lot of stage points. As for the bonus picks, I'm going all over the place here. To cover not having Chase Elliott in my lineup, I decided to have him in my race winner and top Chevrolet picks. So my logic here is that if Chase Elliott wins, I get 20 points, while on the contrary, still getting 15 extra points if Denny Hamlin wins. And by having Ford as a winning manufacturer, I can cover a lot of drivers that are not in my lineup. Big one being Keselowski. Then you got the rest of the Penske Brigade, and then of course Kevin Harvick. So out of the 3 manufacturers, Ford easily has the most capable cars of winning Sunday's race. For Waste Elliott, we're getting right back up to the batter's box with its bonus picks, going all in on Elliott again, with the pinch of Blaney and Truex to complement the both of them not in this lineup. This will be the lineup that tests the Austin Dillon waters, which I have surrounded by 5 quality starters, just to back up Austin Dillon. Once we get through this week at Homestead, we'll be back to playing Stenhouse at Las Vegas. With the extra spot in the lineup, why not try our hands at Tyler Reddick? In a similar structure to Waste Elliott, 1 long shot paired with 5 heavy hitters. Denny Hamlin all the way here in the bonus picks, with Chase Elliott and Brad Keselowski to cover. No Chevy will show a blend of play conservation and aggressive points getting, Harvick and Hamlin leading the ladder, and we'll continue to have Michael McDowell in the lineup, so long as he still has top 10 starting spots. I'm very intrigued with playing Eric Almirola this week, so I'll have this lineup try that out. If not Chase Elliott, then definitely Kyle Larson would be a good Chevy related pick to make here. I got Kyle Busch covered in the bonus picks, as a result of not having him in the lineup. And then I got Kevin Harvick all throughout the rest of this bonus picks from here. And then for Jackuwarz World Network, I'm bringing the entire Penske Brigade. Now, will I be a week too soon to do this? Probably. But then again, I could just do the same thing there too. As much as it hurts to use my 3rd Hamlin pick already, like I've said a few times before, it's going to be very difficult to pass on Hamlin on these first early tracks. And starting with Las Vegas, you'll see me pull back more of my Hamlin plays for my lineups. I'm a little bit concerned about Christopher Bell being in so many of my lineups. He could easily blow up right in my face right after the road course win, but I'm hoping that the rest of the lineup can cover, just in case that might go awry. For this lineup's bonus picks, I took a similar approach to Jackuwarz 1. I took a 50-50 between Denny Hamlin and Team Penske winning. Each of them win, they'll give me 20 points. If it's Logano, I'll get 25. And then Chase Elliott as the top Chevrolet, that's a very safe pick to make, and likely expect me to make that pick there at least 2 or 3 times a week, whether or not he's in my lineup or if it's a bad track. Alright, so those are my picks. The race is this Sunday afternoon. Enjoy the race at Homestead. Catch you next time.